Hi friends, my name is Chris Dunku. May God grant you absolute victory over every forces of darkness as we reflect on Jesus drives away evil spirits. We'll start with Jesus caring for the man with unclean spirit in Capernaum. Mark 1:21-28. When the Sabbath came, Jesus entered the synagogue and taught. They were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. Just then, there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of him. They were all amazed, and they kept on asking one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." At once his fame began to spread throughout the surrounding region of Galilee. Synagogues were beginning to come into existence in the first century. They were local centers used for civic gatherings as well as for study and worship. Many gospel scenes are located in them. Jesus could be sure to find an audience there. I imagine myself seated in the synagogue in Capernaum on the Sabbath. I watched Jesus enter with his disciples, who had just left everything to follow him. Jesus reads from the Jewish scriptures. His teaching, so authoritative and persuasive, makes a deep impression on us all. There comes a shrill cry from a man possessed by an evil spirit. Jesus calmly silences and expels the unclean spirit. We marvel at his effortless authority over the forces of evil. In the above episode, Mark's stress is on the authority of Jesus, which he exercises in two ways. First, he teaches with authority, his own authority. This was different from the scribes, whose teaching was dependent on what others had said or written. Secondly, Jesus shows his authority over unclean spirits. He is able to confront, silence, and expel the spirit that has taken possession of the unfortunate man in the story. Such exorcisms point to the ultimate victory of the kingdom of God over evil and death. Secondly, we consider the healing of the Gerasene demoniac. Mark chapter 5, from verse 1-20. They came to the other side of the sea, to the country of the Gerasenes. And when he had come out of the boat, there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who lived among the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, even with a chain. For he had often been bound with fetters and chains, but the chains he wrenched apart, and the fetters he broke in pieces. and no one had the strength to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and bruising himself with stones. And when he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and worshipped him. And crying out with a loud voice, he said, "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me." For he had said to him, "Come out of the man, you unclean spirit." And Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." And he begged him earnestly not to send him out of the country. Now a great herd of swine was feeding there on the hillside. And they begged him, "Send us to the swine, let us enter them." So he gave them leave, and the unclean spirits came out and entered the swine, and the herd, numbering about 2,000, rushed down the steep bank into the sea, and were drowned in the sea. The herdsmen fled and told it in the city and in the country, and people came to see what it was that had happened. And they came to Jesus and saw the demoniac sitting there, clothed and in his right mind, the man who had the legion, and they were afraid. And those who had seen it told what had happened to the demoniac and to the swine. And they began to beg Jesus to depart from their neighborhood. And as he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed with demons begged him that he might be with him. But he refused and said to him, "Go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." And he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all men marveled. Significance of this story that we've just read about the deliverance of the man possessed by unclean spirit in Gerasene. This is perhaps the most graphic and terrifying account of demon possession in all the scriptures. Note the recorded facts regarding this man. His home, who had his dwelling among tombs, so he lived in the tombs. His helplessness: 1, he was naked. 2, he was exceedingly fierce. 3, he was totally unmanageable. 4, he was constantly crying and cutting himself with stones. 5, he was seized upon and driven about by a legion of demons. What a contrast is seen in this wretched demoniac following his glorious conversion, following his deliverance. He now is 1, sitting, not screaming. 2, praising, not cursing. 3, dressed, not naked. 4, in his right mind, not insane. 5, a convert of Christ, not a captive of Satan. This account might well be entitled, "How a Madman Became a Missionary." Why do I say so? We have previously observed Jesus' instructions that he should tell others what had been done, which he did. He did not hesitate. He went about telling people how much God had done for him. Mark 5:20 puts it this way, "And he went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed." Lessons: when we have an encounter with Jesus, it doesn't matter the level of captivity there is always deliverance for us. 2, we should learn to tell others the wonderful things that God had done for us. Thank you.